Welcome back to another episode of Headlines and Heartlines. I'm your host, Vanessa Brazier, editor and publisher of Bluebonnet News of Texas. I'm joined today by one of my favorite conversationalists, Mary Merrill Cohn. She has been the director of the Austin Memorial Library now for 30 years. She works for the city of Cleveland. She also is a history buff. She helped archive the Cleveland Advocate newspapers years ago, and she is just a wealth of knowledge. If you ever want to have a good conversation, come visit Mary because she's good for it. She will help you. She helps generations of people discover the love of reading, and she is ensuring that the library continues to meet the needs of the changing world that we're in. And then I know that is a challenge. We were talking about that before we got started on our interview today, and Mary and I have a lot of laughs when we're together.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We've had a road trip where I thought that it was just going to be like just normal. We were laughing the whole time, I think, right?
Yeah.
We had to go take the Cleveland Advocate archives all the way to Denton, and we had the best conversations on the way home. She helped me write an article in the car on the way home. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
I brought my laptop, and we worked on it right there. Well, Mary, let's start at the beginning. How did you end up in Cleveland?
I will say that my dad was not born in Cleveland, but he was born in Houston. He was raised in Houston and then later Cleveland. He went in the military. He met my mother in England. He came back. I have to say I really admire my mother because she found out she was pregnant right before my father got stationed in Louisiana. So she upped and left everything that she knew, having her very first child on the way to come to a place that she knew nothing about.
For the man she loved.
For the man she loved. And so my sister and one brother was born in Louisiana, and then my dad was stationed to a place my mother couldn't follow him. So he picked and moved my mother up to Cleveland, Texas, and my other brother was born in Cleveland as he was crossing the railroad track on 1725. So she had given birth to my brother in the back seat of a car, thanks to my grandmother. And my aunt was driving the car without a driver's license to the hospital. And because she was driving fast, she got pulled over and she ran because she didn't want to get a ticket. So that was kind of a bit of a funny thing.
Oh, my gosh.
But then I was born in England as my dad became stationed later on back in England. And then I started school in Japan and Okinawa. And then my dad, when he retired from the military, he wanted to come back home. So that's how I ended up in Cleveland. And graduated in 1985. First started working for the library as a high school student in 1984.
Your parents' names. Give us your names.
My father would not know. His name is Oliver, but everybody called him Pete, and he never liked to be called Oliver, but he was Pete Merrill. And my mother was Pauline Merrill, and she worked until she retired from Walmart. She actually opened up the Cleveland Walmart and set it up before it opened to the public in the late 70s. And because she had a stroke, she ended up retiring over 20 years later.
And because Mary had an American father and a British mother, Mary switches between a British accent and an American accent fluidly.
Yes,
I would say. Yes.
And I don't realize I'm doing it. If I'm talking about my mom.
Yes.
See, I have to watch how I say that. My mom.
Your mom?
I normally say me mom. I do switch then.
Yeah, because to the British accent.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you just do it like without even thinking about it.
I don't know I'm doing it.
Yeah. It's funny. Well, what's first sparked your love of books and reading?
I will say that my grandmother, or I call her my nan, over in England, she gave me my very first book for Christmas. And to me, that opened up a world. So no matter where we lived, we would always go to the base library and check out books, materials, and it didn't matter. That was the one constant that stayed the same because the cultures would change and we would embrace the cultures. My mother would make it as a adventure. We got to learn something new and we would embrace the culture to which we would always live in, and got to learn the language, got to learn the customs, and that was always the nice thing. It was an adventure no matter where we went.
Did you go to school here in Cleveland?
I did. I started in Japan at Okinawa, and then we moved here, and then finished here.
Yeah. So you're a graduate of Cleveland.
I am a graduate of Cleveland.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that they love the fact that there's Cleveland graduates in positions in Cleveland doing things. I mean, it's an inspiration to the other kids that are coming up.
You never think that when you're graduating Cleveland, we used to have a class in junior high. It's now middle school, but then it was junior high, that you would cut out articles in the paper for jobs and what they would pay, and you would look for your position, and that was what you decided you were going to be, and then you looked for apartments that could afford to live close. And I remember doing that, and nowhere in there was librarian.
So what job were you looking for? Showgirl or something else?
For me, I thought I'd be a secretary.
Secretary?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, because that's what women did back then.
Yeah.
Because this was the late 70s. It was supposed to be a secretary or something like that. And until I became a librarian, I was never in a predominantly female job. Because I was in computer science, and then I went in the military, and at the time when I was in the military, it was predominantly male. And when I was a paramedic, that's predominantly male. It's not necessarily that way now, but it was then.
Yeah.
And so being a librarian was one of the very few positions that I've worked in that it was basically predominantly female role.
As a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, I wanted to be a medical examiner, and I would still give my eye teeth to be a medical examiner.
Really?
Yes, loved watching Quincy. And then when Dr. G had her show, Otis would...
Who was Dr. G?
Dr. G, medical examiner. She was originally a medical examiner in San Antonio, Texas, before she went to Florida.
Okay.
And she had her television show that they would air as kind of informational thing, that she would do her autopsies. You wouldn't actually see the actual autopsy, but she would talk about them, and I loved it as a paramedic because then I would try to figure out what was the cause of death based on what her findings before she would give her findings. And as Otis said, that was the time he wasn't allowed in the living room because he didn't like that kind of stuff, but I loved it.
Oh, that's funny. I wanted to be a cowgirl. I was going to ride the range with John Wayne. I just knew it.
Well, I figured I couldn't be Wonder Woman, so I wanted the lasso of truth.
The lasso of truth. Hey!
And, her other person when she wasn't, that was a scientist, so I've always loved science.
I've never heard of Dr. G. Is that terrible?
Oh, Dr. Gagliardi or something, but everybody just called him Dr. G. So, yes.
She's going to get me turned on to a new series on YouTube. Is she on YouTube?
Yes. In fact, she did the autopsy of the young girl, the Casey Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
So she was the forensic person that did the autopsy.
There's so many of them doing that now where they're like examining cases and stuff. And you don't hear about a lot of the cases unless someone highlights them. It's amazing.
But I loved it because she
would like Court TV?
Yes, I somewhat Court TV, but I really like the Dateline. I love mystery. One of my favorite books that I enjoyed reading was by John Douglas. It was a true crime. He was one of the first people that did the behavioral analysis unit, and they used to call it behavioral science, and people often referred to it as a BS unit because it was using psychology. And I often wondered how they could look at a dead body and say, well, this is somebody a male between the age of 30 and 35 that had a stutter. How did you know he stabbed this guy and he had a stutter? Did he?
How do you know that?
Or he had a speech impediment. How can you tell by looking at a deceased body?
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yes. So I really enjoyed reading that, and then it became the BAU, and then so the evolution of the behavioral sciences. And I would have loved to have done something like that too, but that was before.
My guilty pleasure is watching the guy that does body behavior, like the little tells that you give off whenever you're talking or whenever you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Reading people's body language. I love the body language guy on YouTube. It's it's fun to listen to and to watch. And I remember I first started watching him during the Johnny Depp trial, and that was the last court TV type thing I watched was the Johnny Depp trial. So it's been a while. I don't have a whole lot of time to watch those kinds of things, but it's still fun. But anyway, well, you've served as library director for more than 30 years, right? You just celebrated 30 years.
Well, I've been at the library for more than 30 years, but I have been the library director for over 20 years.
Okay, all right. So looking back, what's been the most rewarding part of your career?
The people.
Working with the people.
Working with the people. I love it. When I first started working here, I now have those parents they're now grandparents coming in, and they brought in their children, and now they're bringing in their grandkids going, I remember you, do you remember me? Mm-hmm. And I love that. And to this day, periodically, I like to encroach upon Wendy's story time. And if I come out there, there's a few kids that are, Miss Mary!
Yeah.
And then I have to come, and then Wendy will say, and she just made off with all my kids. Because I get on the floor, I play. If there's bubbles and I happen to walk there, I have to go through and I have to dance in the bubbles and be a crazy fool. I get to be that little child again. And the kids love it. And I realized the other day that I am no longer the crazy young lady. I'm now the crazy older lady and their crazy grandmother. So,
and everybody's children are your children.
Yes, they are.
Because you didn't have any children of your own.
No.
But you have everyone else's children.
I do, and I love it.
Yeah, and then you've got a nephew and others that you're very, very close with, right?
Yes, and then they have children, and then they've had children, so yes.
And she's a little bit of you still have chickens? You still raising chickens?
I bought a Frenchie, and my Frenchie did not like chickens.
Oh, so you had to get rid of the chickens?
So I came home.
She killed them?
She killed some of my chickens, and I had a massacre in my backyard.
Oh, no.
So my next door neighbor inherited some of my chicken coops and my chickens. So I still have chickens, but I no longer have that responsibility.
Yeah.
And she's now the crazy chicken lady because she's now added to hers, but I've helped her add
Maybe
too.
she'll give you some eggs for free.
She does.
Yeah, I gave my chickens to my daughter because I was tired of dealing with it.
But they're now my adopted family. They've adopted me into their family, and I've adopted them. So if I'm not over at their house, they're over at my house. And then their little girl will, you want to play with me? And then the dad will come in, and here we are hiding in the bed in their closet and reading a book. And it's like, yeah, I saw your green toes painted up underneath the door, and I'm crammed in a closet. Reading a book.
Yeah. That's sweet, though. The kids love you.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, for people who have come to Austin Memorial Library in the past, but they haven't been recently, what's changed? Because it seems like everything's changed.
It's funny. I did a thing the other day saying that in 1984, people thought we were strange when we rotated out a VHS collection. And
that's funny.
We then went to DVDs and Blu-rays. And now we have streaming services.
Yeah.
So instead of paying Netflix or Amazon Prime, you can now stream movies from the library account, and we pick up the tab on that.
Yeah.
And ebooks.
How does that work?
You sign up with your library card, you put in your email address, and if you do Hoopla, it has 7 different e-formats.
I don't know what Hoopla is.
Hoopla is like a Roku or an Amazon Prime or a Netflix. It's its own little platform. And you sign up with your library card and your PIN number, and we allow for 7 checkouts per library card. So on those 7 platforms that it offers, you can check out a binge pass, which if you like Hallmark Channel, you can binge pass
the whole
anything,
season.
the whole whatever for that week.
Okay.
So you get a week checkout for that, or you can check out if you like Dr. G, you want to binge past that, you can check out.
You pointed at me, but you should point back at yourself. Yeah.
Well, my sister, I loved watching Call the Midwife. because
yeah.
and I found it after my mother passed away.
Yeah.
So the stories that we heard about when my mom was growing up, and it started, I think, in the 50s, so it would have been before she met my dad, because they got married in 1960. But hearing the stories that my mom used to tell us about her growing up, that you had Nitty Nora, the flea explorer, and it was always a nun. And then, so the midwives were based in London at Nanutter's house, and it was the nuns as well as the midwife nurses, but they were all midwives and they were nurses as well.
Yeah.
And hearing the stories and seeing some of the things that you can't buy here, like Bisto gravy, that there was a child that was all he had to eat, and he was sticking his finger in the powder.
I don't even know what it is.
I love it. To me, I love Bisto gravy.
What's it made from?
I don't know. I just know where to buy it. I don't know what it, but it like here you make your gravy out of flour and water, and I'm assuming it's the same thing, but this is a flavored, so you can get different flavors. They have chicken. I've never tried that, and then they have the onion flavor, but their original was beef.
Oh, okay.
And so
You still like it?
If you come to my house, except for if I have biscuits and gravy, then it will be Bisto. If it's on a roast or something, it will be Bisto gravy. And to me, I can just take the Bisto gravy and Yorkshire pudding and just make a meal out of it. Forget meat, forget the potatoes, forget the veg.
Where do you buy it?
Now it's Amazon, but used to you'd have to go to the British shop in Spring and get the Bisto
so
gravy.
You just order it off the internet.
Or you have a family member that will have mercy on you and send you a care package of Bisto gravy, bird's eye custard, and a jar of pickles, which for us would be a jar of pickled onions. And they're what would be the white pearl, but these were always yellow, kind of a yellowy brown, because it was done not in white vinegar, it was done in malt vinegar.
Oh, malt vinegar. Oh. Do you still have a lot of family that live in
I
England?
do.
Okay.
So I do. I have a lot of cousins, no more. I only have one aunt from my mom's side of the family. All my uncles and aunts have since passed, but it's been nice because I do keep up with them. When I have been over there, I've got to see them, talk to them, interact with them, and then we've kept up online, and that's one of the nice things about social media.
Yes.
I don't like a lot of social media, but I do.
The connections.
That part of it, I do like.
Yeah. Do you make it over there very often?
I haven't been over since, I'd say maybe 2010, It's been a while.
Yeah. And your mom died, maybe 7 or 8 years? Oh,
it's 2014.
Oh, gosh. I was close.
Yeah. But it was very important for her to take her great-grandson to the house still standing where her dad was born. And it was called Vine Cottage. And it used to be Vine Cottages, and it was 2 cottages that were connected then together. But that's where he was born in 1892, I think it was.
And she took your nephew over there?
She had to take he's actually my great-nephew, but had to take him. It was very important that she do that, and we had a blast.
Oh.
So, got her and her sister together.
Oh, but that was a hoot.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Yeah, she was a precious lady. I remember
and it was so funny because her older sister, Pauline, really? Because my mom would go to, we don't do that here. Because my mother had become so Americanized.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
And they thought it was so awful when we had my mom buried, because over there you're not buried.
What do they do?
You have to be cremated.
Oh.
And
they didn't like that.
No, and so when her favorite brother, and I hate to say favorite brother, but he never got married, so he was the one that always took care of everybody.
Yeah.
So he was.
They do burials there though, but I guess in her family it was just the thing to do. I've seen funerals where they had burials.
Only some. It depends.
Okay.
How.
Yes. Okay.
Commoners, no.
Really. Interesting.
But don't drive by the creme while they're doing a.
Oh.
Yeah, because you have to dust your car off, and you don't know who you're dusting off.
Oh. It's just crazy.
And there's normally 5 in the ground in the burial plot. And they're saying, one of the last times I was over there, they were saying that after the 5, and nobody's been there to, after 75 years of the last one interred, they were thinking about recycling that plot for somebody else because it's an island and it's been there for years. They have limited space, and it seems awful.
Well,
but
it's different.
It's a different thing, and to me, we kind of look at it here that the way that they do it, it seems awful, but
we have the luxury of space.
Yes. And eventually, I think we'll run out of space. I mean,
maybe, but you think about it. England can fit inside of Texas 3 times, I think. So I mean, that puts it in perspective, and we've got the whole country.
And they also started a lot. I mean, they were
hundreds of years before.
Yeah. In fact, in Reading, where my mom was from, that one of the last times we were there, that one of the favorite places was the Fulbury Gardens and the Abbey Ruins, and they were excavating to make a car park. And at the car park, as they were digging down to put the concrete to the footings, they ran across an old Roman town, and they had so many years to go in, or not years, a limited amount of time to go in and get at all the archives and archaeological digs and stuff like that, and they had filled up a museum.
They found that many artifacts?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I'm fascinated by the story of Boudica. Boudica was the queen of the Iceni tribe. She was married to the king, and they ended up killing her husband ended up getting killed, or he died, and then she had 2 daughters that were assaulted by the Roman soldiers when they were there, and so she led a revolt. Tacitus wrote about her in one of his books, but he led a revolt that sacked 3 towns before she finally died. It was 62 AD.
Yeah, and the fact at the Abbey Ruin, it's here lies King Henry Beechler, at 1512 AD or something. It was 15 something, so 1518, 1512. That you still have that marker there. That's part of the wall at the old Abbey Ruins, and you can see where the old timbers were in. In fact, the first time we went to the Abbey Ruins, my Auntie Dora, she took me, and she says, "Mary, wouldn't you like this rock?" And I said, "Yes, I would." And Lottie Page, who worked here at the library, she said, "Bring me a rock so I can start my castle."
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to. Well, a rock just happened to be in my handbag.
Oops.
And, I carried it for another month or 2 with me in England in my suitcase. So wherever I went.
A rock. How big was it? A big
rock.
one? Oh gosh, that's big.
Yes.
She's showing that it's.
I'm going to
pretty
say
large
about
size.
10 to 12 inches. It was quite large rock. Times 2. So when I got ready to come back on the plane. Your
suitcase was heavy.
So my suitcase was heavy. And as I put my suitcase up on the scale to come back home, the lady jokingly says, "What do you got, a bunch of rocks in here?" And I just smiled and said, "Yes." Just don't look in there.
Just don't look.
But this was, 85, 86. It was close to Christmas, so I'm assuming they thought I probably had Christmas gifts in there.
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny that she said, "What do you got?
A rock?" "Yes, I do."
Bunch of rocks. And yes, I do. And I just smiled and joked, ha ha. She thought I was joking. No, I literally had rocks.
Well, you probably have seen it. So, Boudica's name is also pronounced Boadicea.
Yeah.
You've probably seen the statue of her in London where they've got her in a chariot. And it's like, yeah, that's her. I'm fascinated by that story. I just want to put that out there. I'm fascinated by that. A woman leading a revolt and sacked 3 Roman towns.
There you go.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Never underestimate
a woman. Nope, never ever. So we were starting to talk about all the changes at the library. We got sidetracked. So
we went down that rabbit hole.
We went down that road. We always do this, y'all. I want you to describe what people see now and how it's changed just in let's just say the last 5 years, or even the last 2 years, because there's been a lot of changes made recently.
Well, I would say, I'm going to go back even further. This building was originally a civic center as well as a library. So half of this building was a library. It had the Museum of the Austins, old furniture. There were meeting rooms.
Well, you need to explain who the Austins are for people who don't know.
So the Austins were Bessie Sims Austin, she was from San Antonio. She married Mr. Charles O. Austin, who was the local businessman, but he was also the Texas State Bank examiner who actually ran for governor at one point in time. And the only reason why I knew all this was, to me, as a library director and it being named Austin Memorial Library, I wanted to find out who the Austins were because both of them were deceased before I was ever born.
Yeah.
So in order for me to be the director and guide the library, I needed to know who these people were. Mm-hmm. To keep their legacy and their love and why the library was important to them. And Mr. Austin, when he died, he was the judge of Liberty County, and they briefly had moved to Liberty County while he was the judge. And soon as he passed away, Mrs. Austin moved back to Cleveland. And
you mean when they said you moved to Liberty County or moved to Liberty?
Liberty.
Okay, so
sorry.
you said Liberty County. Okay,
I'm sorry.
Sure. They moved to Liberty briefly.
Yes.
Okay.
And then he had passed away in the mid-40s, and so she passed away in the early 60s. But it was interesting to see that she was a woman that at the time frame, you could not even have a checking account until 74 without your husband or your parents to give you permission to have that. And here she was, after her husband died, she was the owner of
Running
what was
bank.
in Farmer State Bank.
Yeah.
And she had also was a silent partner in an insurance company because it was the person to whom she eventually named as her executor of her estate that did the running of the stuff, even though she was the owner of it. And to me, she was a pioneer because she was able to do that in a time frame when it was kind of frowned upon. And if I'm wrong in that, but 74, I believe, is when I researched that women could actually open up their checking account.
Wow. So the library's named for the Austins. I guess they put a considerable amount of money into the
Yes, and she loved the arts, so she made sure that the arts.
But that was why it was a community center, right?
It was a community center, and it had a dance studio, which there was a dance business that was run out of the library. And I don't want to say the library, out of the civic
Was there
center.
a library in this building at that time? A
So
small library.
We had half library, dance studio, auditorium, and 4 meeting rooms. And one was a music room, one was just our general meeting room, one was set up to be with a sink that would be an art station so you could wash your paintbrushes and stuff like that. And we now turn those meeting rooms into offices for the staff, and we have taken over the entire building. So we have a teen section done for just teens only. We are
children's section,
children's area. And in fact, we're one of the few. Initially, it's now more popular to be a family-placed library, but we were one of the first libraries in Texas to be a family-placed library, and we did that in 2019. Now classes are now taught at the state the state of Texas. Before, in order to get the training, you had to get the training in New York at Middle Country Public Library, and that so that was the certification is held by Wendy and myself, and now the state has where librarians can go to and be trained as being a family-placed library.
Okay.
And
so you've got these meeting rooms also. Can anybody use this meeting room?
We have the newest room that we have is called Timber Junction. We applied for a Li-Fi grant. We have 20 laptops, as well as it created this Timber Junction. In fact, Timber Junction, as the library director, was my office. And then during one of the renovations, they had demolished one of the walls, and it just was a weird alcove. So we closed the room in, and this is a place for Seven Brews. When they opened up, before they opened, this is where they held all their interviews.
Oh,
so it allowed them the privacy to do the interviews. So at TDC, this also gives them a place to do interviews. we had a lot of people that would come to our library, use the computers, and they would openly discuss their banking information. And it was like, no, let's put you in a room. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted a laptop. Since there were not any hospitals really for people to be at, a lot of physicians have moved to other towns. We still have some very few physicians that stayed in the Cleveland area, but we figured people needed telehealth, and if they're using their cell phone, they don't necessarily have a well enough coverage. So this also gives them a place to do telehealth. We have several people that like to be tutored, or that they are teaching a class as tutors, and this is a room that they can use. So it's kind of an area to have your privacy.
Can you reserve it?
You can reserve it. You can reserve it in person. You can reserve it online. The only thing is we ask that you let us know how many people have used it, and that, like, we're using it today. So we're putting that 2 people are using it today, and it is for this purpose.
Yeah. It's working out great, too.
Yes. So we have the Family Place Library. We have that. We have our junior area, and we have our adult area, and we have a coffee room. So you can come up and make yourself a cup of coffee. We have a microwave in there and a toaster, because we have people that will come in for their lunch and just want a quiet
place to hide out and just decompress, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it makes it nice.
It's changed a lot. I remember when you had all the new shelving and stuff put up, because the old shelving was a little bit scary at times.
Yes.
It's like that could fall. And so now you've got really nice shelving. You've got
fresh paint, flooring.
It's like a new place.
Yes.
Just need to get the outside just tidied up a little bit more, and it'll be like a brand new
place. We had the parking lot repaved this last year, and we had some painting done on the outside. We have a new awning. We now, thanks to EDC, the Economic Development Corporation of Cleveland, they had the backyard and side yard enclosed with a fence, and now it is our goal. EDC has agreed to put up a shade structure, so we've been meeting with engineers on what shade structure we want, and kind of our plan for an early outdoor education center. So basically an area for toddlers. I wouldn't say anybody above 7, 8 years old to really go out there, and it's not a playground.
Yeah.
But have a water play area, have an art station, have an outdoor music. That would also be where we do our outdoor movies, when we do our outdoor movies during the winter when it's darker earlier. And then there'd be
you also have like the business thing for kids, like the what's it called, the market?
Kids pop-up market. We do that twice a year. We do it once in the summer, and we do it in the winter right before Christmas. So that way our young entrepreneurs, they have to learn how to manage their money. So if they buy
their inventory,
and if they have a sprocket that they bought for $2, they need to sell it for $3 or more. But if you're selling it for $8 and this other child has their sprocket, they're selling it for $5, you might not want to do that. And to keep just people from coming up, my concern was that there would be robberies of children. Because if we did it outside, that somebody could just come
somebody
up
actually do that.
That was my fear.
Yeah.
And so we started doing, we partnered with Austin Bank and the Chamber of Commerce, and they are the bank.
Okay.
So if you as a citizen wanted to come buy something from the children, you give them $20, or you give them your credit card, and they'll give you whatever you wanted to put on. So $20, you get 20 tickets.
Yeah.
So you go and purchase things for tickets, and one
that way
ticket,
the kids aren't having to keep up with money.
They don't have to keep up with money, and then the kids, at the end of it, come with their parents. We count the tickets along with the parents, and if the children or the child made 100, had 100 tickets, they get $100 in cash.
Yeah.
So they walk out with the cash with the parent, but they run their stall, their booth, and that way we try to make it as safe for the children as possible, and they wouldn't have to count change. I didn't want to think horrible of people, but I wanted to take the temptation away.
Yes.
And
I get it.
So that was my thing, and so we've actually presented this program at the Texas Library Conference, and
And they like it?
And they've liked it, and we're looking at, we put in a proposal to present it again, because we presented it in Dallas 2 years ago, and this time it's going to be this next year will be in San Antonio, so we're looking at presenting this, because I think it is a very worthwhile program, and it teaches the children how to be good business.
Yeah.
And our future business leaders of Cleveland.
You know, we now live in a time when people have information at their fingertips on their phones and things like that. How do you stay competitive with those types of apps or online bookstores and things like that? How do you stay competitive and have people still compelled to come inside the library?
We have our own apps, but also at the same time, how do you know with the information that you're finding is valid?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a lot of people that will, I Googled this, just Google an ailment and Dr. Google, and then talk to your doctor and find that Dr. Google really wasn't all there is to it, but there's more to it. We are not we do research, but we are not a educational research type library like you would find. We're also available open on Sundays. We were competing on Saturdays with Little League, and
you're open on Sunday here?
We are open on Sundays from 1 to 5,
that.
so families can come after church or after church in the afternoon or before church in the evenings, and we're having more families come in and use the library on Sundays, whereas libraries for 100 miles are not open on Sundays. So we found a niche that's just for us, and it's allowed families where mom and dad would normally work, and if they have Sundays off, they have a chance to come here and be with their kids. So offering hours that for whole families, we have the kids with the family place library where they can come in and play.
Mm-hmm.
Well, mom and dad can get things done. They can find books. We have e-books that you can now check out. We have people coming
like Kindle type stuff?
Like Kindle. You can either do that with either Hoopla, or you can do it through Libby or Overdrive. So
is it a limited amount of books, or is it like just almost anything that's available?
So with Libby, it's what we've purchased, and we're part of a consortium with called the Piney Woods Digital Library. So there's 30 libraries that participate in the Libby. So what I buy, I think the City of Liberty, they're part of the Piney Woods Digital Library community. So what I buy for the consortium, the City of Liberty library patrons can also have access to that. Huntsville Library, they're part of it, so they also get part of our books, but we also get part of their purchases as well. So it's the 30 libraries pulling our resources together. And then Hoopla,
I have a question about that, though.
Okay.
So, like, let's say that 10 people want the same online book checkout. Is there a limit on the number of people that can check out the book online through an ebook?
Unfortunately, yes, because the vendors realized they were losing money.
Okay.
So
you have to buy like a license?
We have to buy a license, and that license can either be 100 users at one time, or it can be that you can only get 26 or 26 months or 26 uses. So trying to keep up with that makes it hard and difficult. And so if there's 142 people that want to read the new Frida McFadden book, then 30 libraries are trying to come up with a way reasonably how to manage that reserve and hold. So you may be on reserve or on hold for that book for a while. Or we have two parts to our
but you may have that book in the library.
Regular print, yes.
Okay.
Or you can get it from Hoopla. And Hoopla there's no waiting list.
Okay.
And you can check out, but
there's alternatives then.
Right. But with Libby, you're allowed 10 checkouts at one time, but unlimited checkouts throughout the month. With Hoopla, you only get 7 for the entire month.
Because I imagine when a new book comes out that people are wanting to read, and there's like a rush to see who can get to it.
Yes.
I would just imagine. So how do you see the role of the library in building a stronger community?
I think, to me, the library is a backbone to a community because it is a safe place that is for all ages, all walks of life, all disabilities or abilities, should I say. And it's a place that the community can come to feel welcome and invited. And that goes for any library.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, the backbone of any community.
Do you think children today are reading less than previous generations?
I think adults read less than children, to be honest with you. I think kids are encouraged to read in school, and we try to make it inviting with the summer reading program, and we try to show them that reading is using your imagination, and I think kids do that. But I think as they get older, reading is not pushed or promoted, or that, well, why read the book? Just watch the movie.
Oh, do you think that maybe it's just people get busier when they get older? They reach adulthood and they've got jobs and families and sports and church, and it's maybe hard to find time for everything.
It is, but you know, one of the things that we were talking about before this at TLA in April, one of the classes that I attended was that reading a book for an adult, even if it's just for 5 minutes, is equal to that of a 30-minute relaxation and what it does to your brain. One of the things that I noticed about one of our longtime standing library board members was Miss Ann Baird Mosby. And they had Mosby Furniture, so she's been gone for quite some time. She had a stroke, and when they did a CAT scan or MRI of her brain, it showed that she was an avid reader because her brain was so much active.
Oh, wow.
And she would call and say, Mary, come bring me books, and while you're at it, bring me fried chicken, or can bring me fried fish, because she wasn't allowed to have fried anything. So her librarian was her dealer for for her fried foods.
Yeah.
And I can't mention her name because I don't want her son to find out. But I'm also a chocolate dealer, so I have a person that she has
a current person,
and her son is trying very hard to make his mother very healthy. And I've smuggled in like I give 3 to 4 bags of Nestle Crunch, and we have to hide it. And I have to deliver it where her son doesn't see that I'm delivering it, and it's just like, hi, how are you?
I'm here with books.
Out the back door.
Yeah. That's funny. He's trying to keep her healthy, and you're like, oh, here's some chocolate. Here's some chocolate.
Well, I think when you get a certain age, you need to live life.
Life is short. Eat dessert first, right?
And, if she goes to bed with one little fun-sized Nestle Crunch, and that just makes her day. When you're 78, 70, why not?
Get her some dark chocolate pecans. They're really good.
Well, so
dark chocolate roasted pecans.
I will bring you whatever you pay me to bring you. So she has to reimburse me. So it's not.
It's not like you're just stopping by and doing stuff like that.
So for everybody that listens to this, I will be your chocolate dealer, but you're going to have to pay for your own chocolate.
Yes. You're on a library salary.
Yes.
Yeah. If you had to recommend one book to anyone, what would it be?
Oh, I will say right now, reading all the Jana De Leons, I've gotten several other people, because she's almost an unheard of author, but her books are so funny, they're a mystery. But it all takes place in Louisiana, and to me, I love it. It's fascinating because it's the bayous, and if reading anything and having visited Louisiana, I have. They're quick, fun reads. I can read 2 of her books in one day if I do absolutely nothing else except for eat and go to the bathroom.
And there's an Anne Rice book that I liked it was Blackwood something. I can't remember it now. But it was based in Louisiana. I think a lot of her stuff was based in Louisiana, but
they're fun books.
Yeah.
They're what I call light reads or fluff.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it. But I also like to read the books that make you go,
The book that I always seem to buy people is William Zinsser's On Writing Well. On Writing Well, because it I read it periodically just because it brings you back to writing concise, being very concise with your writing. And I struggle sometimes with it because I want to go on and on, but, it just keeps you from, you don't want to use flowery phrases or...
Otis used to buy several books of the 5 love languages, and when people would come, and if you didn't know, Otis was my husband.
Well, we were going to talk about him next.
So he would if somebody would come in and they would kind of talk about maybe thinking about getting a divorce, he would tell them to read the 5 love language. And it was just interesting that even though it's talking about the 5 love languages, that in that book it says that, oftentimes you get in a relationship and like a car, you have to fill it up with gas in order for it to run. If you fill it up with water, you're not going to get very far at all. And to a certain extent, that kind of equates with life. If you don't put something in there to fill you, then you garbage in, garbage out again. But it's you have to find what and how to speak each other's love language.
Yeah. So for people who didn't know, Otis Cohn was the mayor of Cleveland for how many years was he mayor?
4 years, and he was on council for 4 years before that.
And he was an attorney, and he was a delightful person, and he loved history. And he and Mary found each other, I wouldn't say later in life, but you were already a fully grown adult, you know.
I was in my 40s, he was in his 50s, and it was a first marriage for both of us.
And he was the love of your life.
Oh, absolutely.
But unfortunately, he was struck with, was it pancreatic cancer or was it colon cancer?
Colon rectal cancer.
And he struggled valiantly with that for years before it finally got him.
Yes, in fact, he is the reason why at the time it was Millennium Oncology, because they had an office here in town, but they did not offer infusions.
Oh.
And when they moved to what is now Texas Oncology, they named the infusion room after Otis.
Yeah.
Because that was something that he wanted to bring, because he understood
the struggles
of the citizens around, because he would see them in the infusion room in Kingwood.
Yeah.
And in fact, he dressed up as a character that it comes around at Christmas, and he went to the infusion room, and he had to hand everybody either a candy cane or little fruit snacks. And people were like, okay, yeah, no big deal. And the nurses said, he's a current client. And they all had to stand up at that point in time while they're getting their infusions and have their picture taken with Otis, both staff as well as their clients. And that to me just... Yeah. He never went out of character, because I said, well, since you're hot, why don't you take off the suit? And he said, no, I can't. And we went to Chick-fil-A, and there was a child. He
couldn't break character.
He couldn't break character, and the child just looked at him, and the dad rolled down his window, so Otis rolled down his, and the dad said he hasn't had chance to see this man in red. And Otis
he went into full Santa Claus mode.
He did, and he got out and he gave that child
an experience.
Yes, and also gave him a gift, and that was Otis. Otis thought of others before himself.
He didn't complain a lot.
No.
And he was hurting toward the end, and he didn't complain a lot.
It was rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the saddest thing to watch, because I love to watch him as he would go before the judge and he would talk, and I got to see him in court, and then towards the end, his very last court case, he was struggling, and the judge recognized how much he was struggling, and it broke that judge's heart, and it broke my heart. And the lady that he was representing said, I didn't know he was this bad. And I'm like, he was
hiding his health issues as much as he could.
Yes.
But I remember the night that he died, I came over to Cleveland and videoed the procession. I loved him. If you don't know, if you've heard the phrase, if you know about it, crow about it, that's an Otisism. That came from Otis. He came up with that phrase.
Yes,
and
he
it's been
actually
used.
crowed.
If you know about it, crow about it. He wanted to brag on the good things happening in Cleveland.
Because everybody's always quick to pick up
condemn
on the negatives, but
That's with anything. It's just human nature, unfortunately.
It is, and he said there is a lot of good in Cleveland, and if you think that there is something that is broke or wrong in Cleveland, then fix it or do something about it.
Or
Be
get out
that
of the way.
positive. Well, that's one of the things that I liked about Otis, because we would go to lunch in town, and people would say, "Oh, the city did this, the city did that," and he would offer them legal advice, or he would represent them. And I would never say anything while we were there in front of the person. And I said, working with city government is not like working with having your own business.
Right.
There are a lot of moving parts, a lot of cogs in the wheels.
A lot
you
of
have
approval
budgets.
processes.
Yes. And I said, so in order to do this, why don't you run for city council and learn that it's 2 years? What's 2 years? And at the end of his 4th year, he walked up to Nikki Coates, who was the mayor, and he said, I'm going to run for mayor. I just thought I'd let you know.
I think Nikki was done by then anyway.
And Nikki was done by then, and it went from Nikki to Otis, and I loved it because Otis said that as a council person, he had a vote, he had a voice. As a mayor, it was his job to facilitate the meeting and make it run smooth, and only if at that time he needed to be a tiebreaker was he a tiebreaker. But one of the things, they would deliver the council packet, whether he was a councilman or mayor, on a Friday, and he would literally that weekend
reading it.
He would read it, every bit of it, and he would critique it for grammatical errors.
Oh
Spelling errors, and he would write it all down and have questions. And everybody thought because I was the library director and he was the mayor, we talked about city stuff, and he would tell me what was in the council package.
You're like, nope.
And I'm like, no. And he would, if he had a question, if something on the library was there, and he would say, well, he would ask a question. I would say, no, the protocol is you have to ask the city manager and then have the city manager ask me.
Yeah.
And then I will respond to the city manager, and then he will respond to you. That's the way it should be done.
Yes.
And council stuff was council stuff.
Yeah.
We both had jobs where I could not tell him about what patrons were doing here at the library. It was a privacy. He had clients. It was a privacy. So we understood the privacy boundaries, and we never crossed those boundaries.
That's awesome. Speaking of patrons, how many patrons does the library have every year? I meant to ask that
Walking
earlier.
through the door, or as have
Both.
library cards.
Both.
Walking through the door, we have over 100,000 people walk through the door, and
Every year.
Every year. And then as far as library cards, we're up to 12,000.
That's pretty good.
Yes, and believe it or not, we have where people can apply for library cards online, and we have people who are applying for library cards that do not even live in the state of Texas.
And how much does the library card cost?
It's free.
It's free. For everybody?
For everybody.
Wow. That's amazing, because I think that they charged it some other places.
They did. Well, they do. In fact, we have a lady who lives in Livingston. She got a library card here, has been using the library because it's free, but as she's getting older, she's finding it harder to drive to Cleveland to use our library. So we told her there's a thing called a tech share card, because Livingston charges $50 for a card. And she, on a fixed income, cannot afford $50 a year. It is. So the tech share card allows her to use any library in the state of Texas that participates in the tech share program, which Livingston did.
So she can have a card here and use the library
there for free.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure that helps get your numbers up on how many patrons you have, or people with library cards too, once they find out about that.
Yes.
Well, one project that has meant a lot to both of us is the preservation of the Cleveland Advocate Archives.
Yes.
Before I started Bluebonnet News in 2018, I was the editor of the Cleveland Advocate, the Dayton News, and East Texas Advocate for a long time. I think it was like 13 years. I've lost count. It was a long time. But we worked together. The Advocates no longer exist. We were purchased by the Houston Chronicle, and the papers did not last long after the Houston Chronicle purchased them. Previously, they were owned by Houston Community Newspapers, which was great. But then when the Chronicle took over, they just didn't value the community newspapers as much as the previous owners. So a lot of the community newspapers have gone away as a result of the Chronicle.
Yeah, and it's a shame.
Yeah, because they're not out here covering anything.
Right, and it left cities in a hole because at the time, I believe
They have to put notices
they
in the
have
paper.
to put notices in a paper. They couldn't do it online. And to find an actual print paper to
Right.
put this in became difficult as they bought up the local newspapers from various different communities, not just Cleveland.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the first time I met the people from the Chronicle, I was explaining to them how wonderful Cleveland was and all the, the great stories that we'd gotten and how high our web numbers were and all that stuff. And they go, Cleveland, we hadn't thought about that much. And I thought, oh, okay, they don't really care about they don't really care about us out here in Cleveland.
Well, and I will say that as a community newspaper, when you have parents love to see things that their kids are doing.
Yes.
They want to see the obituary of their loved one.
Yeah.
I mean, I will simply say that, all the little things they want to read. I have a young lady that came in.
They want to know why the police were at the neighbor's house.
They wanted to, yes, she wanted to see when her dad played football
Yeah.
in 1970 something. Well, Houston Chronicle won't allow you to have those archives unless you pay for it. So one of the things that we did is we were able to take the archives and try to they're still being processed, but have them digitized what we didn't have on microfilm, and now we're working on trying to get the microfilm digitized of all of that. So it's just simple search.
So
But
have they finished with the Advocate archives yet, or are they still working on
they're
it?
still working on it. It
Wow.
takes a lot. It
Yeah.
takes a lot.
Yeah,
Because they go through and they have to index it all.
keywords,
and,
everything.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's been probably at least 8 years or so since we did that.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while. And now I don't even know where those archives ended, the paper archives, because we had to bring them all back and put them back in the vault. But then when the Chronicle purchased them, then I don't know where they went after that, because when I left, they didn't belong to me, so I had to leave them there. And then after I left, then the newspaper was managed in Humble, and then it ceased to exist.
Yes.
So I have I've made an effort to make sure Cleveland stays covered.
But that's history, and
Yes,
to me, the history belongs to the people,
exactly.
not for a higher gain.
Yeah.
Financial. And I know that there has to be things. I mean, we have to obtain the grants to get all
Right.
of this done, and
Right.
and that's what we did. We obtained a grant to get
Those
the
archives.
and we kind of saw the writing on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and it was trying to preserve that history, and that became a goal for both of us.
Yeah. Well, we did it.
Yes.
But, yay! We just got to get it finished up so we can actually access it now. It would be nice to be able to go back and see some of the stories that I wrote about, because people will come up to me and say, hey, you remember when you wrote about my child doing this? And I'm like, I have no recollection of it, because I have written thousands of articles in my life. And so I don't remember all the articles that I've written in the past. I just don't. I just move on to the next. Is that terrible?
But there's got to be some stories, just like there's some patrons that
There's
just
things that stay with you.
and
Yes.
you carry that.
Yes.
And I think it is kind of like I hate to refer to it like this, but there was a city manager that made us all read the law of the garbage truck.
Oh.
And it's basically you go around and you collect you collect things from people and you carry it with you.
Uh-huh.
And, there it was talking about collecting people's problems. But I think things that impact us and the people that you meet and stories that you've had to have done that's left a lifetime impact on you, you carry that with you throughout the rest of your life, and it shapes you, and that makes you who you are. And I think that's, that's kind of why I still speak sometimes in English. That impact of my mom and her family has left that part of it, and I don't realize I do it. So.
Well, see, I've been a journalist so long. I remember when Jay Knight was on the city council in Dayton, and that's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now he's the county judge, and so I've met so many people in my life. I've been in a very wonderful position to have covered all the things that I've covered in my lifetime. So.
Both good and bad.
Yeah.
And
but as long as I think as long as I handle it from a sensitivity. And, and I'm a Christian, and so I want to handle things from a spiritual standpoint to try to,
Well, I love it. You bring that up. People often think that as a librarian that you're not a Christian because you're a huge flaming,
Oh, yeah.
liberal, and I'll just simply just kind of.
I don't look at you at that. I look at you as a middle of the road person. Like, your values are
I
centered.
was very much a Christian. In fact, when you come to interview me, I said I need to turn off my radio, and my radio is on a faith-based
Radio
station
yeah.
because that is very much who I am.
Right.
And there was a certain minister in town that said that we had an occult room. And you covered it.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things, and it just really angered me. And I'm so glad at the time that I had Otis. Otis said he can say anything he wants to about you. And
Doesn't
I'm
mean
like,
it's true.
no, because it's not right. I want to,
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah.
You feel like you need to defend yourself.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And it's very hard because when he wanted to ban those books, oftentimes the people that want to ban a book, they fill out a piece of paper and they think it is my job to agree with them and take it to council, because that's what we do. We take it to council and they make the decision. And it's like, no, you need to present your side of the story or why you think. Now, I will take that document and council has what you've written.
Uh-huh.
It's not my job to defend the book.
Right.
It is my job to defend why I bought that book or why that book is on the shelf, because we have a collection development policy. Do I agree with the books? No. Are they books that I would read?
No.
No. I will say I am not a romance person. Give me hardcore mystery, give me light mystery, give me true crime.
But there are people that like romance.
But there's people that love romance. There's people that love faith-based books. I don't read faith-based books as far as what they call Christian fiction.
Yes.
To me, there's not enough meat in there for me in the ones that I've tried.
Right.
I like to try to figure out the whodunits, the old Agatha Christie type things. And so if you want to read a romance book, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But please don't make me read one.
I used to like the James Patterson books until he started using ghostwriters, and it's like, no,
yeah.
I don't like the ghostwriters.
And, so this is not my library. This is the City of Cleveland Library. And so not all of us are here to read the same thing. And so
people are different.
Exactly. I don't, like the people that like to read romance. Yeah. Read as many romance books as you want. Yeah. More power to you. Just please don't ask me to read it.
No.
Because it's all the same.
Yeah, it's just you insert a different name, and I don't like reading sexual content anyway. So.
That's one of the reasons why I like Jana De Leon. She's a mystery writer, but she does.
I don't like
her romance is
clean.
The romance is they kissed, or I have a boyfriend.
Sometimes the most romantic thing. Sometimes the most romantic thing can be just like a handheld or like touching someone's hair. It doesn't have to be like all the graphic stuff. I can't stand the graphic stuff.
I will say I love it when you have an older couple coming up the sidewalk at the library.
And they're holding
hands and it's like, oh.
My husband and I still hold hands.
I love it. I miss it.
He still opens the doors for me, and he still opens my car doors for me most of the time.
Otis did.
So, yeah.
Until the very end, and then I would open his car door and pull up the wheelchair and say, okay, it's time for us to transfer you, and you're going to have to give me a little bit before we transfer you over to your chair in the house.
So we have talked about a range of subjects. No, this is the way it goes when Mary and I are together. The conversations just keep going, and I have to get myself centered because we have so many things that we could probably have a 4-hour podcast, and Mary and I would still have things to talk about. So let's...
my apologies.
No, you don't have to apologize. It's just the way we are. I want you to answer these quickly. Who's been the biggest influence in your life?
My mother.
Your mother. Okay. What book has changed you the most?
A Boy Called Dave, I think. Dave Pilkey is the author.
Okay.
A Child Called It.
A Child Called It.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is there a quote you try to live by?
To be honest, to be friendly, and to live life to the fullest.
One thing we didn't get into is the fact that she was in the Air Force for how many years?
4 years.
For 4 years. And then she became a paramedic.
Yes.
And
After being in the Air Force, I was in military intelligence, so it was always inside of a skiff.
Yeah.
And secure facility, no windows.
Yeah.
You only had a door.
Yeah.
And
she's lived multiple lives, it seems like.
so when I got out of the military, I wanted to be in the medical field. Still not a librarian. I wanted to be in the medical field. And so I did not want to be in a hospital, so I didn't want to be a nurse. So I became a paramedic because it was outside.
Yeah.
And turned out that Lottie Page, I mentioned her earlier, she had cancer and she had to leave, and they asked me to fill in, and I've been filling in here at the library since.
So your paramedic days came in handy when you had to start taking care of your sick husband.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I didn't stop being a paramedic until I got married to Otis in 2010.
Yeah.
So for several years, paramedic, and I just let my license go because I figured I have not been on a unit and I'd probably do more damage than I would good.
What's something you've learned from children that adults forget?
To be open and honest.
Yeah.
I love it. A child's laughter is natural.
Yeah.
And as humans, I think that laughter, emotions, kids don't know how to handle all their emotions, whereas adults do. And sometimes you just have to let your emotions go.
Yeah. If you could spend an afternoon talking to any author in history, who would it be?
She's now deceased, but it would be Sue Grafton.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, she wrote the criminal books.
Yes, the alphabet.
A's for whatever. And
she never got Z.
Z.
She died before Z was written, but
I think I want to see John Steinbeck or even Mark Twain. I plan on visiting his home place in Hannibal, Missouri.
yeah.
Maybe this year or next year.
Sue Grafton was the first adult author that I latched onto as an adult. And so she's always had, and the funny thing about Sue Grafton books, I would read her book and then I would have to listen to the audio book with Judy Kay. And it got to the point that as often as I was doing that, when I would read the book, I could hear Judy Kay reading it. Then I had to listen to the audio to see if I was actually right.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah. Well, so what's one, I know this is switching gears a little bit, but what's one lesson that you've learned through grief that you wish everyone understood?
You know, a lot of people will say that it heals, and to me it doesn't heal. That void is always there, but what you do is learn to
Adjust.
live, and you learn to live and adjust to that. You learn when you're a child to become an adult. You learn as an adult. Sometimes you get married like I did, and you have to learn how to be married. And then if you have children, you have to learn how to have children. And then you have to learn how to live without children as they grow up and they become adults. And then you become empty nesters. And then you have to learn when one of them passes away. You have to learn when your parents die. And it's just
Everything's a learning process.
It is all a learning process, and it's not always easy to learn lessons.
That's a hard one, though.
It is. Because we went from a house and 2 cars to when Otis died, that it's 2 incomes went to 1 income. And
but you were used to that previously, but
you have to learn to budget differently. It's just all
different.
And my poor dogs, they get to hear me talk, so I don't really get to talk to a lot of people. So unfortunately, here I am taking up all your time talking about everything and anything. But yeah.
No, I love it. That's the reason I called you.
Nothing's off limits.
No. What gives you hope?
God. And my faith.
That's a good one. I love that. So we end all of these interviews with fun rapid fire questions. Those weren't even the rapid fire. Those were just like, here's an insight into Mary. Hardcover or paperback?
Hardcover.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Kindle or real book?
Ebook.
You like ebook? It's
I do.
clean. You can carry a whole bunch of books with you just on your tablet.
And you don't have to dust them. And I don't have to put them in my car and bring them back and remember that they're in my car.
Yeah, they're heavy.
And I lose a bookmark.
Oh.
So this way I don't lose my bookmark.
You don't have to,
I know exactly where. Yes.
Yeah. But if you are reading if you are reading a hardcover book, do you use a bookmark or do you turn the page down?
I use a bookmark.
You don't like turning down the page?
I use a sticky note because it stays.
And
it
doesn't
doesn't fall
hurt it.
out.
And it doesn't hurt the
yes,
book.
and it leaves it exactly the line that I left off.
Okay, so fiction or nonfiction?
I'm predominantly more fiction than non.
Really?
Yes,
But I'm predominantly nonfiction.
see, I like true crime, and I do like some history now. I've started getting into more history books.
I think I used to like fiction more, but now I like nonfiction more.
I'm kind of in the middle with both.
And Mary's already read. I've written some children's books, and Mary's didn't you read?
You read one too.
Yeah. So she's been giving me some advice on how I can get everything like lined out. Life has just been a little bit busy lately.
Yes.
So I'm working on it, Mary. I'm working on it. Dickens or Jane Austen?
Jane Austen.
Favorite children's book?
Right now it's The Little Blue Truck, but my old-time favorite children's book is Harry the Dirty Dog.
Not Even Everybody Poops? Oh, that's a whole story. Somebody protested the Everybody Poops book, and I had the most fun writing that story and the headlines.
The state library picked that article up.
The number 2, I used the number 2, number 1 problem. I mean, it was like, I had fun with the headline.
But I loved Harry the Dirty Dog because he was the white dog that got dirty, and he became a white dog that turned to a black dog until he got lost from home, and then the family took him in, and they went to give him a bath, and the black dog turned to be a white dog. That was one of my nan's books that she
Favorite
sent.
books,
Yes.
yeah. England or Texas? That's not fair, is it?
Can I have Texas food but English heat?
Oh, but they don't have air conditioning and it's hot
They're
there.
getting air conditioning.
they?
Yes.
Okay, well, they're a little bit late.
Look, you now have pubs that advertise. They now have air conditioning, and that's the
Oh.
best place to get food is at the pubs, not in the restaurants. Sorry.
Beach or mountains?
I like the beach in the wintertime, and I like the mountains during the summer.
Favorite season?
It's fall to spring.
Yeah, fall and spring. I don't like winter.
Yeah.
My birthday is in winter, and it's like, ugh, who wants to celebrate in January?
Well, the leaves change in both of them. You have a lot of changes, so you have the things that are dying off, and then you have the things coming new.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Last book you finished?
Oh, Frida McFadden's Housemaid.
Housemaid. Was a good one?
Yes, and then I had to watch the movie, and I love it that the ending is, I mean, the bad person still ends up deceased, but how they die is
Is this
different.
the movie with, what's her name?
Oh, I don't know actors. I'm cinematically challenged.
Yeah, is
As
this the
Otis
husband
Cohn.
that is
The-
mad? And,
yes.
Yes, okay.
But
yes.
it makes his wife think that
That she was mad?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. One word that your friends would use to describe you?
Strange.
Strange. That's okay. You can be an oddity. In Texas, we embrace our oddities, right? We put them on the
Yes.
front porch so everybody can see them. If you weren't a librarian, what would you be?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. Can I be a go-go dancer?
Yeah, we'll go back to showgirl. It's a joke, y'all. We're just kidding. We're just kidding.
Yes.
She would have something a little bit more mainstream.
Yes.
Yeah, a little more subdued. Maybe, a respectable profession. Oh, that was fun. So this is the final question. This show is called Headlines and Heartlines because the headlines tell us what's happening, but the heartlines tell us what matters. So if I ask you this, I want you to tell me what is on your heart today.
I would still say God, my faith, and the fact that you've just got to love people because Jesus came to show everybody love. Even the most difficult people, if you show them love.
We've met a few of those.
Yes.
Yeah, and they need love too. I pray for people that have been abusive to me because I want they're God's children too, and God does not want to leave them. He does not want them to.
Well, the greatest of all the commandments was love.
Yeah, so I pray for one person in particular that I pray for, and I don't do it every night, but I do it when I remember because I promised God that I would do that.
Well, see, people, if they don't see me here at the library, they may see me do my side gig.
Yeah, you're out delivering.
I'm
and stuff.
delivering. Yeah, I deliver stuff.
Yeah, Having a good time doing that, huh?
I enjoy it. There's been some strange places that I've been to, and this last Saturday was the first Saturday that somebody ever pulled a gun on me.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. I read about that on your Facebook
Yes.
page. Yeah.
Shocked.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I'm not coming back to this house again.
No.
I'm not going to deliver your groceries. I'm sorry. Well, Mary, thank you so much for taking time to visit with me today. I've enjoyed it immensely.
I enjoy it. It's like talking to an old friend.
I know. We love each other. Well, I have enjoyed sitting with you at city council meetings. I've enjoyed our road trip. We need to plan another one. But I appreciate everything that you do to keep the library the way that it is. And it's not one of the places that I hear complaints about. Only when someone complains about the book, everybody poops, or complains about something else that's silly like that. But those always, they give me great inspiration for articles, so I'm okay with it. But anyway, thank you for joining me today for Headlines and Heartlines. I hope you have fun.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
Until next time, everybody, that's it.